Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before, this is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before is now talk like you've never seen it before. Alex Bennett's Ramble is now in video. Log on to Alex's Facebook page at facebook.com/abennett every Tuesday through Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern and experience the Citizen Panel like never before. We put a face to people like Phil, Patrick, Renee, Kevin, Tony, Jeff, Bree, Brian, and all of our regulars. And Alex is there too in his PJs. Just be glad he isn't naked. You can be one of those people who gets seen and not just heard by calling into Skype. For more information on how to Skype us, just go to gabnet.net. You can dress any way you want, provided it's decent. GabNet is now not just talk and not just a pretty face. So why don't you add yours? Evolution is defined as any process of formation or growth, development, the evolution of a radio program right before your ears. Welcome into the exchange. It's Rob Alfano, and it's a Wednesday night, a special night, and we'll talk about that in just a few moments. You're going to give us a call on Skype in a little while.
I'm Jim Browning. You're listening to The Exchange. Well, our long national nightmare just may be over. It seems that we are ready to say goodbye to reality television.
Good evening and hello, everybody. Welcome to The Exchange, your safe haven for the free and open exchange of ideas and opinions here on the Great American Broadcast Network every Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 10 Eastern, 6:30 to 7 Western. I'm your host and broker, Damian Chaplin. If you'd like to join the conversation tonight, go ahead and give us a call on Skype. I'm opening the lines right now.
The Exchange, one program, ever evolving. Be a part of evolution. Tuesday through Friday at 9:30 p.m., Damian Chaplin moves you in new directions. Call GabNet Live on Skype at 347-352-0079. The Exchange, the evolution. Tuesday through Friday at 9:30 Eastern, only on GabNet. GabNet needs you. Yes, GabNet needs you to call our live programs and be a part of the citizen panels. It's the most innovative talk format yet because it's not just one caller, it's a group of callers interacting with the hosts at the same time. Here's how you do it. It's simple. First, download Skype at skype.com. To install it, answer 4 simple questions: first name, last name, email address, and your choice of ID. Then launch Skype, go to Add Contacts, type in GabNet Live, and ask to be made a contact. Then you're ready to be on the citizen panel. If you're too lazy, well, you can always call on the phone at 347-352-0079. That's 347-352-0079. For all the information and a call button for Skype, log on to gabnet.net. At the bottom of the page, you'll find a video on how to call us and how to use GabNet. It couldn't be easier. It couldn't be more fun and exciting. We're new. We're different. But we need you to call. So for crying out loud, call or we'll kill this dog. Don't worry, Fluffy. They won't let you die. I'm not kidding. Call or Fluffy gets it. Oopsie. Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
Hey! Show the host. Okay, here I am. I am the host of this here show. And welcome to our program. My name is Alex, and we will be here until, till midnight, Eastern Daylight Time. Okay? And we'll have our citizens panel in a little while, but once every couple of weeks, we like to go out and check in with somebody who used to be my wife. There's that lovely face. There she is. It's Ronnie Bennett. No relation anymore.
Well, that depends on what you call a relation, you know?
Yeah.
Former husband is a relationship of some kind.
Of some kind, yeah. Either it can be good or it can be bad. In this case, it's turned out to be pretty damn good.
Yes. How are you?
I'm fine, and this is what she affectionately refers to as the Ronnie and Alex show.
Yes. What else? You know? No, it's the Alex and Ronnie show. I went alphabetical with our names.
Oh, did you really?
Yes,
oh,
yes.
Okay. All right. Running the show as you used to. I see. Okay. Anyway,
of course.
What's new in your life out there?
It's been pretty sad. My cat, Ollie, who is nearly 14, has been sick for several months, and he was down to just skin and bones. And so I had to put, I don't like to say it that way, but, you know, I hate the word euthanasia too, but did that on Saturday, and I'm still missing him, of course. But I discovered, because my vet was unavailable that day, that there's an organization here called Compassionate what? Companions or something like that. Anyway, it's a group of veterinarians, and all they do is make house calls to, you know, when the time comes, send the pet off to pet heaven.
Yeah.
And a woman came and did that on Saturday. It was terribly sad. And, you know, the same thing that's happened to me with people and other pets has been happening is you think you see them out of the corner of your eye going by, you know, for a while. And then you look and no, or maybe it isn't just a ghost, who knows? But we were almost 14 years together, and we were good friends, and we argued all the time about how things should be done in the house, and sometimes I won and sometimes he did. And he was just gorgeous, and he was wonderful.
We should add that he was an exotic animal in a way.
He was a hybrid. He was 1/6 African serval.
Yeah.
And that's called a Savannah cat. And he was beautiful.
He was lovely. I mean, he stayed with me on a couple of occasions.
You know, I tried to find that. It's somewhere on my computer, and I couldn't find it. But that wonderful photo when I was away and he was at your house years ago, sitting on the sofa with a can of beer next to him, watching television with you. It was pretty funny.
Why would there be a can of beer? Because I don't drink beer.
Well, maybe it was a can of soda.
Can of soda. Had to be a can of soda.
It was pretty funny with his legs spread out in front of him. Yeah, if I could track down the photo, eventually I'll publish it on the blog.
He was huge. I mean,
yes.
He was. The Savannahs are so big that their owners usually walk them around the neighborhood on a leash.
Well, that's not the reason. I mean, first of all, they're medium-sized cats. I mean, if you can tell on the screen, they're, you know, if a house cat is like this size, they're bigger.
Yeah.
But they're medium-sized, servals are medium-sized cats. When I still lived in New York, on my block, or down the street a ways, a couple had a brother and sister servals. And they did walk them, but they were what's called F1s. They were 50% wild. And they were much more like their wild cats. And they also like water a lot. But mine didn't. He was 1/6 serval. And he couldn't have cared less. I mean, well, not only couldn't care less, the idea of a harness was not something that was ever going to be accomplished with him.
Yeah.
So he was more like a house cat. He was a good guy, you know. I mean, one of the problems with hybrids, and I would never have one again, is that I'm not so sure I like the idea at all, but is veterinarians, they haven't been around long enough for veterinarians to know about them, that, you know, different breeds have different kinds of things that they have medical problems with, and they don't know enough about Savannah cats to be sure about whatever they're doing or what they think they should do or what the animal might have wrong with them. So they're not a good idea on several levels. But he was a good guy, and he was so beautiful.
He was a beautiful cat, and you would have him stay with me, and he never would have anything to do with me for most of the time when you were gone, unless I started working at the computer. in which case he would then like grab my legs while I was trying to type and do stuff. And then as soon as
I'd forgotten. You told me that a long time ago.
And as soon as I would pay
that.
attention to him, he was back to avoiding me.
Right.
You know.
He got better in his old age about people. Back then, he just didn't like people who weren't me, whether I took him somewhere or you came to my house. But he got better in the last few years of his life. At least he would let you pet him once or twice. And he was a biter, you know, and I mean, on things if I didn't serve breakfast or dinner fast enough, he'd bite my ankle. The whole time he was with me, my ankles were in shreds. And you'd pet him, and he seemed to be perfectly happy. He's purring away, and you pet him, and then all of a sudden he turns and whack! He's bit your hand. What? Why do they do things like that?
Well, anyway, he with me, he would like avoid me, but he had a sixth sense of when you were coming back. All right? Oh. And so I could count on it that about a day before you got back, he would suddenly take a shine to me. He would start being nice to me. And
so what? So you wouldn't tell terrible stories to me
when
I got
And as soon
home?
as you got back, you know, off he went. And then the next time you'd leave him with me, same story. It could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 3 days. On day 2, he would suddenly warm up to me.
Do you have a pet?
No. There are a couple of reasons why I haven't had a pet. One reason I haven't had a pet is that, especially in this apartment, my wife likes to leave the windows open.
Oh, wow. And how high up are you?
8 floors. Okay. And so I would love to have a cat, and I would keep the windows closed. We do babysit a cat every now and then named Berta, who's one of the smartest cats I've ever met in my life. We've fallen absolutely in love with her. And Berta, when she comes, I do have screens for the windows, so I put the screens in.
And are they tight enough so that they can't be pushed out?
They're tight enough. But still, if she stands on, say, the radiator, which looks out over the window, I'm kind of frightened, you know. My wife doesn't feel that way, but I do, you know. And I know that the cat probably won't jump out the window, but I do know the cat will probably try to walk out on the ledge.
Yes.
And there's a guy that comes about every couple of years. We hire a guy to come and clean our windows, and he gets out on the ledge with a belt.
Yeah, I can't watch those
I have to leave the house. I can't be here when that goes on. So if the cat even gets close to the window and it's got a screen in it, I'm going, get away from there, you know. And of course, that's lost on a cat because now they really want to go by the window.
Of course they do. They know from the tone of your
voice.
And
she likes to sit out on the radiator and look out the window because there's a lot happening down there. Yes. She doesn't know what exactly, but things are moving, you know.
Yes.
So anyway, but that's one reason I haven't had a cat. The other reason I haven't had a cat is because at my age, I don't want anything sitting there looking at me saying, you know, I'm probably going to be here when you're not.
You know, I put some thought to that because I've always had cats.
Yeah.
We had cats when we were married, and I've had them ever since, usually one at a time.
We had another one of another one of the greatest cats in the world, Shabbos.
Yes, we did.
Shabbos was the greatest cat I've ever had.
And I've thought about this even before Ollie got sick, that if he predeceased me, would I get another cat? Well, first of all, you know, in the same way that I didn't go out and get a brand new husband after you and I broke up, it takes a while. It's the same thing. I mean, when your pet dies, you don't run out and get a new one. There has to be, he's still with me to a sense. It's not time. But I've thought about it, and I think that if I ever do it again, I'm going to go to one of those places where you can adopt an old cat, and we can spend our old age together. Because most people want kittens, and they won't take old cats. And,
right.
You know, and if a cat doesn't have a home, an old cat doesn't have a home anymore because his people died, or, you know, awful. Some people just put a cat out and think they can take care of themselves. It would be nice to give an old cat a good home for his final his or her final
I
time.
think that's maybe a nice idea.
But we'll see. It's going to be
And I could do that myself and probably feel good about it, and even leave the windows open so if the cat commits suicide, well, you know.
Jeez. No, you can't leave the windows open.
I love the old story that Truman Capote told about he was going on a date with a woman. At least that's what he says. So the woman says, "I've got to still get ready." So she went into her room and was working on getting herself ready. And all of a sudden, he looks at his feet, and there's this little dog, and he's got a ball, and he wants him to throw the ball. So he picks up the ball and he throws it. And the ball then bounces around the room, and the dog chases around the room and then catches the ball and brings it back and drops it at his feet. He throws the ball again, and again the ball bounces around the room, and the dog bounces around the room and grabs the ball and drops it at his feet. He then grabs the ball, throws it, it goes out an open window, and the dog goes right after it.
Oh, what happened?
So this was on like the Jack Parr show, and Parr said, "Well, what did you do?" He said, "Well, she came out from getting ready. I didn't say a word. We went to dinner, and then at dinner I mentioned, 'Have you noticed your dog being visibly depressed lately?'"
Oh, stop it. That's not...
He told the story on the Tonight Show.
Oh, God. Unrelated to pets, I ran across a Truman Capote quote somewhere in the last couple of days who said that life is a pretty good play with a very bad third act. I miss Truman Capote.
Yes, we all miss Truman Capote. How long but he's been gone forever. Jeez, you know.
He died relatively young, I think in his 50s.
Really?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure.
But here's the thing about losing a pet. You know, people have said, and there have been people who've said that the two hardest things is to lose a parent and to lose a pet.
Not a spouse?
Well, a spouse too, but you know, they were talking, I guess, about people who are still okay. But yeah, but that losing a pet is right up there with grief.
Yeah, it is. You know, there's that, I've forgotten the name of it, but there's a well-known psychological kind of inquiry. It's a list of things that can go wrong in life, you know, that commonly go wrong in life with people, or right even, and each is assigned a relative number of how much it affects you, good or bad, or stresses you. And whether it's good stuff like getting married or getting a new job, but also losing a spouse, a pet, all those kind of, it's a long list. It's 20 or 25 lists. Someone looking at this will undoubtedly know the name of the list. I can't remember, but certainly losing a pet is on the list.
Yeah. I mean, it to me, when I lost Shabbos, who was our
good
cat.
Old Shabbos.
Well, he was our cat. You know,
yes.
He was the one we got, and I grieved. I really grieved. You know, because here's the thing about a pet like Shabbos. He had spent 18 years with me. He was here for every major event in my life for 18 years. He saw me when I was happy. He saw me when I was sad. Met all my girlfriends. You know. Yeah. I mean, he had literally lived his life with me. And when he died, I said to myself, I can't believe that in 18 years, we never talked to each other verbally.
But you understood each other.
But yet I feel he talked to me constantly.
Yes.
You know, and that's the amazing thing. There's a nonverbal relationship you have with a pet that after it's through, you go, I can't believe I never talked to him. You know, because
I understand.
We did.
I never had that thought before, but I get it.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. And Shabbos was very zen and very special. I mean, I remember he was a super cool cat. I mean, I remember once having to take him across 14th Street in my arms. And
oh my God.
You would think a cat would go crazy. He was just really cool about the whole thing. He didn't budge. He just, hey, that's really nice. Traffic, huh?
Oh,
that's cool.
Interesting. You know, it was funny. Before you and I broke up, by that time, he wasn't anywhere near 18. Mm-hmm. He still was sleeping most of the time. Mm-hmm. And by then, we had a lady Siamese cat that we named Yanta, who was really a busy. Let me finish this, then you can go.
Yeah.
And she was really a busybody. And by then, even though he wasn't all that old yet, mostly he slept on the back of a certain chair in the living room. And Yadav, who always had things to do, would come trotting through the room, clearly on her way to do something. But she would always detour when he was sleeping there. Always. She would detour past that chair, jump up, whack him in the head, and then go on about whatever she was doing.
Yeah. She would do that when another cat would come into the house, like maybe we were cat sitting or something, and a cat would come into the house. She would go crazy, because of, yikes, another cat in the house. And what would she do? She wouldn't attack the cat that came in the house. She would go to Shabbos and beat the crap out of him.
Poor Shabbos.
Whap, whap, whap.
I know.
I have to say,
and she was about half his size. And
if Shabbos was the best cat I ever owned, she was the worst.
And then there was poor dumb Bert who used to stare at the corners.
Yeah, we had a cat called Bert who stared at the corner. We had 5 cats total. Then there was one I think while we were still together, called Mouse.
Mouse was part of the same litter as Bert, and Mouse never got any bigger than a kitten.
No, Mouse wasn't the same litter as Bert. She was, I think, the daughter of either Bert or Charlie, who was the other cat we owned. We owned so many cats, folks.
No, there were only 5.
But
there were only 5.
There were two things. There were 2 things about Mouse that were terrific. Number one, she was the one that would pee in the toilet. She taught herself to pee in the toilet.
I don't remember that. Okay, that's
You were
cool.
gone by then. But I was asleep one night with somebody there with me, I don't know who, and I hear something going on in the bathroom, some peeing going on. I'm going, we don't have a guest or anything. I go into the bathroom. There's nothing there. So I'm dreaming about something. Next night, same thing. I go in there, nothing, nobody there, but there are 2 little wet paw prints on the toilet seat. And the third night that it happened, I went in and I watched. Oh, I know. I was married to Susan at the time, and she used to sit there and watch Susan peeing with great intent. And so one night,
so she was figuring out what was going on. I can do that too.
One night I went in there, and she's in there, she's peeing on the toilet, and she always for the rest of her life peed on the toilet, which was wonderful. And people went, "Well, does she also poop in the toilet?" And I said, "You can't expect everything."
Oh, see, I had a cat. My cat before Ollie, I trained to use the toilet, and he did that for 3 years until I guess he just didn't like balancing on it anymore, and we had a few accidents, so I gave in and gave him a litter box, and he was happier. But for 3 years, I trained him. You're gonna love this. There is a thing I bought that goes under the toilet seat. That's like for little kids. With babies, you need them. Would teach them to use it. But this one was for training cats to use the toilet. And the name of the product was, are you ready for this? Kitty Whiz Transfer System.
Kitty Whiz Transfer System. Do you remember the jazz musician Charlie Mingus?
Sure.
He actually wrote a book on how to train your cat to shit in the toilet.
Oh, did he?
Yes, he did. He did. There's a method where you don't have to buy this kit,
But don't you love the name of it? Kitty Whiz Transfer
absolutely.
System.
But however, Shabbos was a very zen and very wise, but he was also very stupid. And you may remember this. He used to always shit in the bathtub.
Yes, I do. Every day of my life, I remember that
For the
back
18
then.
years that he shit in the bathtub, every time he did it, he tried to dig it under.
Yeah, well,
never being able to even make a dent in the porcelain.
But let me tell you a story about how smart he could be. When we lived in Riverdale, I was sitting on the sofa one night watching TV, and he liked to sleep on the top of the TV. They were bigger TVs in those days.
Yeah.
And he'd sleep on the top because it was warm. I'm sitting there perfectly happy watching some show, and all of a sudden, Chavez falls off onto the floor and he doesn't move. And I go, oh my God. I go running up. And should I touch him? Has he broken a bone? What's going on? He stood up and he walked off. And then he turned around and looked at me and flicked his tail as if to say, screw you, and walked off. Okay. Funny. So he's got a sense of humor. A week or two or some amount of time goes by. I'm again watching television. He again has got himself laid out on the top of the television set watching.
Cats love the top of television sets.
Yes, well, it's warm.
Yeah.
And again, he fell off and didn't move. And I didn't move. I said, you're not going to get me this time. You can just get up and get out of here on your own. You're not going to do this to me. But he didn't move, and he didn't move, and he didn't move. So finally I got up. Maybe this time he hurt himself. He got up, walked off, flicked his tail at me again, and went off to have a snack or something. So he's not entirely stupid.
Yeah, no. But he was Zen. He was my Zen master. You know, he taught me what it was like to be terribly cool. You know,
Right.
and never let anything faze you. Except there were a couple of things that would faze Chavez, and I think you remember this. You could take a rubber band and twang it, and he would start having a gag reflex.
Oh, that I hadn't
And
thought
then
about
and
that
then
in
one
all
day,
these years. You're right.
one day
I
you
remember that.
one day you were using an emery board on your nails, and the same gag reflex. So anytime we wanted him to start acting like he was gagging, we simply took an emery board and scratched it, or a rubber band, and went twang, twang, twang. Why that brought out a gag reflex in this cat is totally beyond me.
You know, any two other people or any groups of other people would also have tons of stories like this, but different ones from their cats. Cats are weird.
Yeah.
They're just weird.
Cats, I love cats.
Yeah, me too.
And I love cats over dogs, oddly enough. I mean, I don't mind dogs, but, you know, you got to take them out and you got to collect their poop. Cats poop somewhere. You can put a box down and they'll poop.
I think I like dogs equally, especially medium-sized to big dogs, not those little teeny teacup dogs. But I never wanted one, although I don't want one now, but certainly any of the time, those 40 years I lived in New York, because you can never do anything. I can't tell you how many times at work somebody said, oh, let's go have a drink. And there would always be 3 or 4 say, sorry, can't do it, got to go home and walk the dog. Yeah. And you always have to go home and walk the dog.
Well, you know, we're getting close to the end here. We got about 3 minutes, but I can't go without mentioning Charlie.
Oh, wonderful little Charlie.
Who was maybe the smartest cat I ever owned.
Yeah.
And what he would do, this was, I think, after you left, I would sit there watching, I was in the bed, watching television, right? And Charlie would come along, sit next to me, put his paw around my shoulder, and watch television with me.
Two guys just hanging back watching television.
Just cooling out, you know, watching TV, you know. And then the other story that I have is that, what's her name? Yuntov was very, very, she was, I don't know, she always liked to get in the way of my life. And had to have a woman over for, you know, and I'm wooing her, and she's in bed with me, and I'm sitting in bed, and we're talking, right? Yuntov would come and sit right between us and look at me with a look on her face like, don't you dare. I mean, she was a cock blocker like no other. So here's what we shared in our marriage, folks. This was the biggest part of our marriage, were the cats we shared.
I want to tell you just one thing before we go, that I used in my post that is up right now about Ollie dying. Many, many, many years ago, when we were married and we were visiting your folks, your dad told me a story that on weekends, on Saturdays and Sundays, you know, their house was built on a hill, so that the bedrooms, on reverse of most houses, the bedrooms were downstairs, the living areas were upstairs.
Right.
And so I was just chatting with him. I don't know where you or your mother were, but he was telling me that on Saturdays, he would have to practice a violin in the morning, and she was doing whatever she was doing, and they would do their things all day long, and they might not see each other. Your dad is saying this, from breakfast until dinner time. He said, but you knew there was another heartbeat in the house. I've never forgotten that.
Yep.
And that's how I feel. I feel now about missing Ollie, that heartbeat is gone,
Yeah.
And it was always here, no matter if he was off, he had a million sleeping places. God knows where he was. He would come out when he felt like it.
Yeah.
But I always knew there was another heartbeat in the house.
There was another warm-blooded thing in the house with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, and now that you mention my father, I miss him almost as much as I miss Shabbos. So,
Your dad was a great guy.
He was a great guy. Just a great
Who died way too young.
Hey, listen, we've run out of time, and all we did today was talk about cats. And it's interesting that when we want to say, well, what do you and Ronnie really have in common? I mean, it's been years since you've been divorced and whatever, and all of a sudden I realized that what we had in common the most were these cats and the cat
There was
stories.
a long time where we didn't talk about anything except cats and the show. Period.
Yeah. It was this is a great relationship we have. That one, not so much.
No, exactly.
Not so much. Hey, thanks. Love talking to you, sweetheart. Let's do it in a couple of weeks, okay?
All right. Have a good day.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ronnie Bennett.
Celebrating 4 years of talk like you've never heard it before. This is Gabnet, the Great American Broadcast Network.
I love talking with my ex. She's so much fun, and I'm so sad about her cat, because the cat did stay with me on several occasions, and I got to know Ollie pretty well. And if you've never seen a serval cat, look it up. Very unusual animal. Very unusual. Anyway, I guess, let me see here. Let me close down my music here. Those are all little themes and stuff I play, and open up Skype. And then hope that somebody calls, and if nobody calls, then I get to go to sleep early. Anyway, what was I going to say? Give us a call. If you don't know how to call us, the best way to do it is for me to defer you to gabnet.net. And over at gabnet.net, on the right-hand side of the page, it's a whole tutorial on how to be part of the Citizens Panel. Not complicated, very simple. You could probably do the whole procedure in a matter of minutes if you want to. I don't know whether to tuck my shirt in or out. There. You know what happens? I was saying this the other day. If I take this off, watch, everything goes dimmer. Look at that. This, when I have this on, because I have this on automatic for lighting, and somehow I can't just set it to a certain point, and then I may play with it someday and get it to work without the automatic. But when it's automatic, watch the video level go down. Look at that. See what I'm saying? Yeah. Up, on, video level down. If I were to show this even more, it would go down even more. Yeah, I can't figure it out. Anyway. Who's calling? Oh, what do you know? It's first of all, we've got Ray Renati, and then adding to the group, we've got Phil. Hello, Ray. Boy, you're on early. You're on early tonight, Ray. Wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want you to go to bed.
Oh no. And there's Phil. Somebody's got their audio up. Yeah, there it is. Better now? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you and Phil both have gray hair, and you both have black shirts on tonight.
Yeah, but the difference is he's got hair.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, let me put it this way. He didn't pay for that hair.
Yeah. I'm going to have to start putting product in to get it to, clump up a little.
Do you mind being bald? I mean, at a certain point, shouldn't guys just say, hey, okay, I'm losing it. I mean, look at me. I am not in a state of denial any longer.
Well, I just don't have a great shaped head. I was a breech baby, and the head was it's a little more pointed on the top.
You're blaming it on your mother's vagina. Is that what you're doing?
Absolutely. Yeah. I came out running.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, no, I didn't come out running. I came out head first.
Well, supposedly you get baldness from your maternal grandfather, and my maternal grandfather was bald as a cue ball.
Well, so was mine, but I'm not bald.
Your maternal grandmother?
My maternal grandfather was bald.
Really?
But I'm not bald.
Wow.
Yeah, my maternal grandfather was bald, but my father had a full set of. He had a.
Well, my father didn't have a full set of hair, a full head of hair.
Head of hair, yeah.
But because he had a widow's peak, but he had hair,
Yeah.
But I didn't. That's not the side of the family that I got my baldness from. Now, here's what I want to know. Because we never asked this question. I've brought this up before. I've never gotten a real answer on this, and maybe somebody out there could answer it for us.
And you probably never will.
Well, no. If we get our baldness, say, from our maternal grandfather, and maybe there's several other traits like eye color and hair color and whatever that we get as traits from our relatives and so on, where does penis size come from?
I'm not sure.
You know why we don't know the answer to that question is because nobody wants to ask their father, do you have a large penis, Dad? Or did Grandpa have a large penis? Or what, small penis? We never ask.
I think it has to do with circulation. The better the circulation, the more that's there.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And
no, that has nothing to do with it, Phil. That is fake news. That is fake news.
Did you notice any difference once you lost weight, other than the fact you could then see it? But
no.
But there's different kinds. There's the shrinking ones that grow big, and then there's the ones that just hang there and don't get much bigger.
No, but I'm talking about the ones that erect are large or erect are little, like, thumbs.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Now, where is that inherited? Because it's got to be inherited from somewhere.
It's a Jewish thing. Jews have more girth, and they're like a fire plug.
Then how come there aren't more Jews in porn?
Well, what's his name? That friend
Ron
of yours?
Jeremy's Jewish, isn't he?
Ron Jeremy is Jewish, yes.
Yeah.
And he has a gigantic schlong.
Oh.
Yeah, he speaks for all of us.
And this is what our program is all about, ladies and gentlemen. No, but I often wonder where does a big penis come from, or a small penis? I mean, who I know where I got my baldness from, okay? But I don't know where I got my penis size, which I won't reveal to anybody, although I am not embarrassed by it. Where do we get that from? Do you have any idea,
Look
Jeff?
it up.
Jeff, do you have any idea?
I just know from my father, but that's is not scientific information.
I think I may have gotten it from my father. Because I did see him once walking around the house with an erection. So I do think that it was my father, but I'm not sure. It could be your maternal grandfather. You don't know, but nobody ever asked that question.
Is that what caused your penis envy thing when you saw your dad walking around?
No penis envy. No, I've never had penis envy.
Well, you've got penis envy.
No,
I mean, all you do is talk about penises.
No, but I don't have penis envy. That's penis obsession, maybe, but that's not penis envy.
Okay. Penis envy is when you don't have one and you wish you did.
No, I've never been dealt a, shall we say, a bad blow that way, euphemistically speaking. But I mean, I just always wondered about that. I mean, women, how about breasts? Right?
Yeah.
Some women have small breasts. Some women have very large breasts, and their mother may. You look at their mother, and maybe they don't have the same kind of breasts. So where is that? Because all of this has got to be genetic on some level, right? It's not just God dealt you. It's like a bunch of cards, and he passes them out.
So, what is the genetic proclivity to having a larger penis as a comparison to a smaller one? You know, what is it that our genetics would cause us to want to have a larger or smaller one?
Well, no. Why is it that all? You know, when I was growing up, I don't know if you were the same way. I thought until I hit went to high school and we all had gym and we had locker rooms. I thought all penises were the same size. I didn't even think anything about size of penises. And then, and it really didn't become that big a thing because everybody was flaccid in gym, and if they weren't, you worried about them. So, but I never really thought about penis size, even into my 20s, and you know.
Well, I just looked it up, and it says that your penis size can come from any of the males on your mother or father's side for several generations back. So you could just be given the penis, of great grandfather Fred, you know.
Yeah.
And you don't even know it. And no one ever saw it. So
really, so it says it can be inherited from way back.
Yeah, and from either your mother's or father's side.
So basically, it is genetic, but we don't know exactly from where.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that begins to solve the problem. Not totally.
Yeah.
Not totally.
Well, they'd have to do a big study, you know, and get a lot of money from the government. I don't think Trump's going to fund that.
No, I don't think so. At all. Oh, you know something? You know what I've done? Through this whole discussion, I have not turned on the panel. There we go. Look at that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
we've just been talking all through.
No, but nobody watches this anyway, so. You know.
That was for our own amusement?
Yeah. No, you've been on.
Oh, okay.
You just your picture hasn't been on. It's just been me talking to you.
Oh, okay.
Because I just noticed it because I was looking at the picture and I was going, gee, you know, I should wear the shirt in because I look thinner than when I wear it out.
Oh, there we are.
Okay. So anyway, there we go. Anyway, this is our panel, folks. I went for 15 minutes here, or 12 minutes, 11 minutes without showing you guys. I'm getting too old.
But we still have 27 people watching.
25, 26, I don't know.
Yeah. That's good.
Well, you know, now that they can see you and less of me, I think probably it's going to be okay. But
when you were on the radio, you used to have a live studio audience. Did you ever get 27 in the studio?
Oh yeah, I had hundreds.
Oh yeah, like at the Punchline sometimes you'd have those.
Oh
big
no,
things?
I was talking about at the radio station.
The radio station once. I mean, I remember once we did a show in which we had Jackie Chan was on it, and who was the singer? Trying to remember her name now. The girls women really loved her. I'm trying to remember the name of the singer right now.
Cyndi Lauper?
No. But anyway, and Jackie Chan, and between the two of them, we had people lined up out the block.
Wow.
And around the corner trying to get in to see this.
The only time I went to your 105 studio, it was still sort of under construction. Most of the time I spent in the studio with you was a Camel, and there was, no place other than the other studio.
That's where we first brought in a studio audience, though. We actually let people just come up and just stand around and watch the show being done. That's how the studio audience started to happen. And then when I moved to the Quake, they built me a studio that could accommodate people. And then when I moved to Live 105, we put chairs in the studio, but it was a difficult slog. And finally, we moved into that big building, and they built me a studio that actually could accommodate a studio audience.
Which place were you that had that AP machine that was out, just outside the studio? Had an AP machine?
I can't remember. I mean, that's where we got our news from, Associated Press. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah, that was the last one I was in.
Yeah. But let me see here. I'm thinking. And in that studio that they built, Live 105, they built a huge window that could be slid open, so we could sit people behind that, so we could fit about 50 to 75 people in there. Yeah. So.
Well, if you think of it as your live studio audience, and you got 27 viewers right now, that's just an electronic version of the studio.
Yeah, but I also had 30,000 people listening to me on the radio. There's a slight difference.
Well,
in other words, I basically come in here every night, look at the numbers of people listening, and say, so it's come to this, huh? I think part of my problem is there's so many other places you can get this after the fact and see my picture on for the first 12 minutes of the show. There's so many places you can go after we're through that a lot of people aren't even compelled to listen to it when it's broadcast live.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't know if people are that used to listening to stuff live. You know, I was mentioning to girlfriend that Saturday nights, on Saturday nights or Sunday nights, we would go out of our way to watch something on HBO because that was the only time it played, right? Or it played again during the week. But, you know, hi Rob, hi Patrick. Glad you could join us, and now people can actually see members of the studio audience because I'm not being selfish. There, we lost Rob again.
Rob disappeared.
He's having some problems tonight. Anyway.
Hey, I've got a...
Wait a minute, let me finish what I was saying. Now I forgot what I was saying.
We're talking about 30,000 people listening.
Well, I'm saying that we were talking about the fact that when there'd be a show on HBO, we would go out of our way on a Saturday night or Friday night or Sunday night to watch the show because it was on then. Oh, hey, it's 9 o'clock. They probably already started it already. But now, who watch? I don't. Do you watch HBO or do you watch HBO Go? I watch all my stuff on HBO Go.
I watch my stuff the same way I used to. I don't know if it's pre-recorded, but I know that it's coming on at a certain time, and I want to sit down and listen to CNN News. I go to that channel. I don't record it and then
Well, the
go
DVR
back.
came along and changed that because then you could record it and say, well, we don't have to watch it at a particular time, right?
Yeah.
If there's a network show I want to watch, I record it because when you get the playback, they force you to watch the commercials, and then sometimes they cut off the actual show on the playback. So I record those, but on HBO, I just watch the Go. I just watch the.
Don't ever try to record 60 minutes. Because they've always got a football game or something going on before it, and it always runs over, and they never know how much it's going to run over. And if it runs over the time when they think that 60 minutes has to start, that means you won't see the end of 60 minutes, so you have to record the show after it as well so that you get all of 60 minutes. Fuck you, CBS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to drop my CBS On Demand. I don't think I've looked at it in 6 months. The all access CBS.
Okay, now wait a minute. Here's Rob. Rob, what's your problem in tonight?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So it's back. Yeah, what my problem is Skype downloaded a new thing, and it looks completely different again, and all the settings were off, so I couldn't hear you or anything like that. And now the camera's all zoomed in because...
Yeah, my Skype's a mess. Like, I see everybody well except for Rob, who's all zoomed in for no reason whatsoever.
There you go, Rob.
Yeah, that's from what I did this afternoon when I was playing.
Oh, yeah.
I wound up using the OBS tool.
Still no good.
So you like the OBS, huh?
Yeah, I that webcam.io site that I found worked great until I went to render it. And then it just sat there and sat there and sat there because it was like a 6-minute long video that I had to record. It never gave me a finished product.
But OBS is great. You know,
what is it?
OBS it's what I use here to switch the program and everything.
Broadcaster Studio. I think.
It's not. It's a very good, simple program. It doesn't have a lot of the bells and whistles it could have, and it probably will because it's an open source program and people will keep adding to it. But it's what we use, and that's where you like when I want to put up Gabnet Live. Let me see here. Let me see right there, like that. I can do things like that, and I can run my animations for like Gabnet and things like that, and run your pictures and then go back and forth between your picture and my picture. And so today, Rob called me because he had a project he had to do for work, kind of a study project in a way, right? Or I can't.
Not a study project. It was, they want us to be able to speak about this product. So they gave us a video challenge that we all had to do a 5-minute, what they call an elevator pitch on it.
Yeah.
So I decided, rather than stare at a camera like this and talk to it, I would do it as a mock radio interview.
Yeah.
So I sat here and I did it into this microphone with this camera on, and I actually used a teleprompter. I actually went to a free called Easy Prompter.
Yeah.
And I put my script in there, and you would never know I was reading it because, it's right here in this monitor, right below the camera up here.
Right.
So
right.
I actually did the.
I've been thinking about using something like that for my daily break, but I have to also run the OBS as well. If you're just doing one single shot, it's perfect. But if you've got to move stuff in and out and so on and so forth, and so.
I can
scroll the mouse with the little scroll thing, and the prompter moves for you.
Yeah.
It was very simple, but when you're doing a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. So that was his assignment for today. Jeff, we lost your picture.
Really?
Yeah, your camera went off. Yeah, turn it back on. Yeah.
I have the weirdest problem. Like when more than 2 people come on.
Yeah.
I always have one person that's totally zoomed in so much I could bear. All I see is
that's because are you using a PC?
Yeah.
Go back onto Skype, and if you go searching around, you can find Skype Classic.
Oh, okay.
I will tell you though that
this is the Microsoft one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they have a thing called Skype Classic that Microsoft allows you to download, which is the old form that doesn't do all that crap.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that.
I tell you I just when I came onto my computer today, I hadn't used it in a week, and it went through all of its updates, and it said Windows is installing new updates. Sit back, relax. It's like
sit back and relax while we fuck up your machine. Yeah.
But then I hadn't used Skype, so I just launched Skype. Then we're going to put another Skype on there, and there's no escaping that anymore. There's no. It's like once you click on the icon on your desktop, it says, we're doing this. So, but I'll tell you what, I like this better than the other one.
Well, they did it. Wait a minute. They did it with mine, saying that you were going to upgrade you. But because I have the Skype Classic, it upgraded me to a newer Skype Classic. Okay? So, and I found on another machine that I could actually install both the new Skype and Skype Classic and decide which one I want to launch.
So, I'll tell you that this version of Skype is now 12.1815.209.0, and it's brand new. And that problem of only being able to put certain amount of screens, then you get the circles, is gone. Now I have everybody on the screen.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The reason I haven't gone to the new one is well, also there's a couple other reasons too. I think there's a problem there. But wait a minute, what is the one that I have? The current version that I have. Oh, John Perulis is calling. Let me see here. I also
have the ability to, if I click on everybody, I get a little. If I mouse over your picture.
Yeah.
There is a little icon that appears in the center, and I can go from a 4:3 format to a 16:9 format. It switches.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I may have to check that on the other machine and see what that's all about. By the way, what is the version you have, you say?
This one here?
Yeah.
Is about this version. It's 12.1815.
Yeah. See the one
9.0.
The one that I have is 7.41.0.101, and that's the Skype Classic. which you can download. I mean, if you go there, you drill down enough, you get to a point where you can. It says which one do you want, and you click a thing, and a menu comes down, and at the very bottom it says Skype Classic, and you can install that. You found Skype Classic?
Yeah, I downloaded it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Rob, I have the same version as you, and I'm having problems with it. Like right now, all I can see is your right ear and your printer.
Yeah, that happens to me sometimes.
No, this is the first time. This is the first time with this version I'm able to see everybody. There are 6 of you on my screen, which I never had before with this newer version. They were little circles. There were 4, and then everybody else was a little circle, and you could drag those little circles down and make them one of the 4. But that would put one of the other people back in the circle. So
I don't see Phil on my screen. I just see a frozen picture of Oliver North.
Oliver North.
No, you're lying, Mr. Perulas.
Now, my Mac version is 7.59 parentheses 37, and it says it's the most up to date.
Well, there's Phil.
Maybe it's time you all went back to the Mac.
I'm going to use my Mac now from now on.
Yeah. I don't want to pollute my Mac. Hey, we're losing 27 viewers. We should start talking about Stormy Daniels running for Senate in Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about her attorney filing many bankruptcies and owing the government back taxes and $10 million to his partner. It looks like he's not going to have a nice day. But I have
wait a minute. Hold on a second. What? I check all the news every day. And I have seen nothing about that.
I just saw it.
Where did you see it?
On the news feed on my phone. And maybe it was called Vox. Let me see. The stories.
I love how he yells fake news and then he believes the fake news.
CNN has
fake news. I have standard NBC and stuff like that.
CNN says here, law firm representing Stormy Daniels hit with $10 million judgment. A law firm. Law firm.
You know him. That may be the old law firm. What law firm is it?
In California.
Judge orders firm of Stormy Daniels' attorney to pay $10 million in judgment. What did I say?
But he personally is on the hook for that because he guaranteed it personally.
No, wait a minute. What has the judgment been for? Did it have anything to do with the Stormy Daniels case?
No, it's bankruptcy court judge who worked. The judgment comes after Avenetti's firm, Egan Avenetti LLP, failed to make the first payment on a $4.85 million settlement with lawyer Jason Frank, a one-time partner at the firm. During Tuesday's hearing, a lawyer for the federal government also said Avenetti's firm failed to make a payment back taxes that was due last week.
And it was payroll taxes that he deducted from his employees and didn't pay to the government.
Yeah, okay.
Those are 941 taxes, and those are not excluded.
Still, no matter what you're saying about all of this, doesn't mean Avenatti is wrong.
No, Avenatti's on the hook for this stuff personally. He signed personally.
So who cares?
It doesn't affect.
It doesn't make him any less credible.
He needs money.
No, but it doesn't mean he's any less credible. And you think he's making money off Stormy Daniels? You're nuts.
He's getting advertising.
No, but he's not getting. I'm sure it's all pro bono on his part, or pro boner. You know.
Hey, talking about a boner.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Why do you want to change the topic? We're on a topic now.
It's boring.
Huh?
It was boring.
No, it's boring because you're overstating what it is. It has to do with a lot.
I stated exactly what it was, and he's on the hook for it personally.
You didn't know what it was until Rob read it to you.
I knew what it was. I read the same thing Rob read, except I didn't remember it as well because it was earlier in the day.
I think Stormy Daniels looked pretty good in her senatorial campaign pose.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I hadn't seen
Why
that.
is she running, though, is what I don't understand.
I think she's going to get some votes. I think she's going to get some
traction. She's going to get some votes, so would I. You know.
I did a plug for you on Facebook, Alex. Did you see that?
What?
I did a plug for you.
How'd you do a plug for me?
On Facebook, for all my friends, all 400 something of them.
Oh, well, it certainly worked because there are only 26 people watching right now.
We lost one.
I've done it a couple times. I didn't think it did.
Yeah, that's right.
I got Skype Classic now. This is great.
Oh, so now you got it. It's like the old Skype, right?
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
See, I told you.
I
told you. And somehow I find...
Yeah, you're looking a lot better, Ray.
I find that you can install both of them on the same machine. You may, in fact, have the other one installed right now and not know it.
Yeah, I'll probably have to go later and try to uninstall it. Well,
no, just go look at all your lists of all your programs, and there may be 2 Skypes there, and one is the classic and one is the other one. She was on my PC version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is the classic because it closed my other one and started this one.
Yeah, it may have closed it, but it still may be on your computer is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. I have to get rid of it.
Well, you don't have to.
Does anybody here still partition their hard drives and have like Linux going and Windows?
Linux?
No.
I never had Linux in any of my computers ever.
No, me too. Yeah.
So why should I? I don't want to. Patrick looks like a Linux guy, right, Patrick?
You know who's a Linux guy?
Wait a minute. I asked him a question, Phil.
He said no.
Trump's a Linux guy.
You look like a Linux guy to me. Have you ever used it?
Yes, I have. I have a friend of mine who was, well, probably still would be, a big computer geek, and he would build computers just for fun. And then, I played around on his computers, so...
Yeah, and he had Linux in it.
As far as it would get with me.
Yeah.
Is that called Red Hat?
Well, now, I have Linux. I use Linux all the time. Linux is Unix.
Yeah,
and I use Unix all the time. You know why? Because it's the major kernel in the Mac. Am I right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
That's correct.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, at Burning Man 2003 or 4, in my camp, was one of the creators of the Linux system. I forgot his name, and he told me a funny story. He said, "How do you think we got it off the ground?" And I said, "I have no idea." And he said, "Porno." He said, "All the porno guys came to us, and we were able to set them up, and that was our payment. We got startup funds or something from them."
Oh, no, they didn't get blowjobs?
Probably that too.
Well, I mean, and what kind of businessmen are they?
So Linux got started by porno.
Most of the internet got started because of porno.
Well, no, actually, you're quite right. You're quite right, because most of the things that have had gone ahead in recent times have always been because of porn. I mean, porn was when videotape first came out. They had all these videotape stores where you could rent movies.
Oh, yeah.
I never went.
What was it? 65% to 70% of all rentals were porn.
Those were behind the curtain.
They drove VCR sales, and then when DVDs came out, guess what drove DVD sales? Porn.
Absolutely.
So porn has always driven these things initially. Then eventually, the public in general gets used to them and gets to know them. And before you know it, old Jed's a millionaire.
You remember Captain Video?
Yes.
That guy who owned that used to date, I think her name was Carol. She was a sales girl.
Yes, I know him very well. He was one of the original founding members with me and Bobby Slayton of the He-Man Woman Haters Club.
Well, he sold out when things were still going good, but he had a bunch of stores. He did really well.
Little Rascals.
No, he only had about one store at the time, and then he sold out, and they tried starting other stores. But
I think I rented videos from Captain Video.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember that.
Captain Video did a very good business.
$4.50
for a short period of time, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, who rents videos anymore? I mean, who? I don't know why they still sell Blu-rays and DVDs when most of this stuff is being sold and distributed on video files.
You miss. You don't get any of the other content though. So if you really want it and you want to see,
but you do.
I haven't seen it on the streaming.
Have you ever rented anything, a movie like a major movie that just came out, for instance?
Yeah, on Apple TV all the time.
If you buy it on iTunes,
usually
it has all the extras that you would find on the disc.
See, I don't buy it. I just rent it. I just stream it once, and that's it.
Yeah, I never bought anything. I never stream them. I found other ways of laying my hands on them. So,
I just buy collector DVDs. You know, things that I think are going to be classic.
Oh yeah, they'll be worth a lot.
Well, I just binge watched one of the worst series.
What's that?
Cobra Kai. It's the remake of Karate Kid.
I heard it was good.
It's drivel. You know, after all of those episodes, I said to myself, you know, I wasted my time.
Well, I have a DVD here. I don't know where it is right now. It always eludes me every now and then. There are very few DVDs that I have ever owned that in any way became worth something later on. This one, for some reason, is worth a bloody fucking fortune, and it's called.
I'm gonna check my stash.
What? Do you want to make sure it's still there? Where are you going?
Don't roll it too tight.
Yeah, that's where he hides his stash.
If I have it here, hold on a second.
He literally means he's going to check his stash.
You know,
everyone's checking their stash.
Here it is.
Hey Phil, you should show a photograph.
What?
I don't have a stash.
This is. Let me switch over to my camera. This is Cinema Europe. And what this is, Kevin Brownlow and David Gill are great historians of film. And they did a thing called Hollywood the Pioneers, which was just an epic history of film, of silent films. And in fact, if you have a copy of Hollywood the Pioneers, it's worth something too, because what happened is, as years went on, the rights to the films, which they had gotten the rights to when they ran it, the rights ran out, so they couldn't resell the episodes, okay? But Cinema Europe, which has the same problem, is the history of European silent cinema. European silent cinema. And I bought this copy because I love this thing. I think it ran me, I don't know, $25, $30, something like that. They took it out of circulation. It's been out of circulation for many years. I looked online to see what you could buy it for on Amazon. You can buy it from a third party, and it's going for $300.
Yeah, you know, I ran into that issue with old Disney films. You know, I wanted to start collect them, and you can't get the Scarecrow of Romney Marsh with Patrick McGowan, very young Patrick McGowan, for less than $300. You know, an old VHS copy. So,
yeah,
I think some things. I hope my Egyptian copy of the Egyptian earned some money. This is a cool film.
The Egyptian was a very good film. Edmund Purdom.
Yeah. Gene Simmons.
And
Gene Turney.
Yeah. And
Peter Ustinov.
Yep.
Was it in The Egyptian?
Yeah, I liked it. It was always a good film. But that copy you got ain't worth shit.
Well, it's a VHS.
Well, that's why it really isn't worth shit, because there are cleaner copies of it. I have one. But I bought DVDs like crazy for years, and what a waste of money that was now. You know, and I put a lot of them onto what do you call it? Onto Let me get my picture out of
these things.
out of Ray Renati's face here. I gotta adjust the
SDAC chip. You can put about 20 movies on this thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I mean, I have taken. There's a whole area here that's blank, and I've taken a lot of my DVDs and put them onto files, because there's no reason not to. Eventually the DVDs are going to go bad anyway. I mean, they'll probably be long dead when they do, but they will go bad eventually. And files can go bad too. That's why I back up every drive I have with another drive of stuff I care about, like my film supply.
Yeah.
Do you use that some kind of free decryption software for the DVDs, or do you just put the files back up the files?
There are a lot of decryptors that you can use, and they're not illegal particularly. And it's not illegal for you to make a copy of a film you own.
Oh, I know.
So, but there have been sometimes I couldn't decrypt it because somehow there was some kind of thing on it that wouldn't allow me to do it.
That's interesting. Decrypting software.
I use it all the time.
Because I have this interview that I wanted to make a copy of, and I couldn't because it wouldn't let me.
It's called DRM, Digital Rights Management. That's what they refer to encryption as. It's a software thing that goes onto the disk.
Okay.
Your machine.
But there's all kinds of apps out there people have written to decrypt that, and it usually works.
Yeah, there's ways around everything.
Yeah.
Most of the time. But the point that I guess I'm making, I'll tell you, I was watching an interesting documentary that was on. Where was I watching? It was either on Netflix or Amazon. And it was a documentary that a former porno actress in Europe made about the porn industry and how it's been completely, they just don't make the money they used to make. They claim they're a multi-billion-dollar industry. Well, they would be if everything they made wasn't pirated. I mean, who ever heard of paying for fucking porn?
Who pays for porn?
Nobody pays for porn, but what this documentary is about is how, when the bottom started falling out of porn, some people moved in and took over. In the old days, porn was run by the mob, okay? And they controlled the game. And then when it didn't become a moneymaker like it was and as illicit as it was, that went away, and the individual companies were doing stuff. Well, all of a sudden, there was this guy in Europe, and I can't remember his name now, and he made his money by coming up with a scheme where it was a little harder for people to steal stuff. And he started buying up all these porn companies. And he had backers, and the backers finally pushed him out, and now they own everything that's out there practically. No matter what porn you watch, it's probably owned by these guys.
So even the porn industry is consolidating.
Yes, but they give it away for free. Now you're wondering how they make money. What they do is they run things like RedTube and Pornhub and things like that, where you can watch all this porn for free. But there are also ads in there. There's also stuff that comes up that you got to click through to get to watch something. And before you're through, they make a lot of money off of people buying shit. But they run the whole business. And it's scary. What?
On Fake Taxi, do they actually collect the fare?
Oh, by the way, they own Fake Taxi too. They own all those.
I love that show.
Yeah, me too.
Are you talking about the porn Fake Taxi or the one?
Yeah,
on
the porn
HBO?
Fake Taxi.
Oh,
It's if you want to watch a video of a woman fucking the cab driver, then that's your fare. Okay, or his fare.
Or you could watch Uber films. Same thing.
Yeah. But this company, I'm trying to remember, it's out of, they run out of Canada, but they've also got headquarters in Belgium. But if you go to the building, there's nothing in there. and most of this is being run. You can't find these people, but they're making all this money, and they're running literally the porn game. If you're making a porn film, basically you're making it for these guys.
I see.
Is that what Howard does? Howard Levine?
No, Howard worked for like Vivid, but Vivid probably in some way is in league or is paying these guys. I'm trying to remember. They have a name for the main name for their company now. And watch the documentary. It's called Porn Something or Another. It's on. I think it's on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. And it's really fascinating about how this business has gone from being a mob-run company to another kind of mob-run business, you know.
Hey Alex, I heard that, and this was about 10 years ago, so maybe it's changed, but some of the biggest distributors of porn are Comcast and the cable companies, because they have these pay-per-view things for hotels. Absolutely. And they make millions of dollars, are these cable companies, off of porn. Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting. Well, I wonder how they tax that.
No matter who your porn company is, no matter who your cable company is, you can buy porn on that cable system. And these systems also in various markets feed into the hotels. And that's where all the porn from the hotels is distributed. You're quite right.
They make tons of money.
I knew a guy who worked at the Waldorf Astoria, and he ran the videos there. In the old days, they had machines and he ran that and the porn.
Back in the 80s, I worked for the Playboy Channel, and I used to run the master control for the Playboy Channel back around, it was 85, I think, 85 to 88. And then, like one day a month, I would do a special satellite uplink to hotels, and we would link all the movies to them. So I'd run all the movies and they would get downloaded by the hotels, so they can provide the on-demand stuff that you guys or any guys, whatever, pay for it.
Did you have to watch these movies? Were you forced to watch these?
Well, if it was Playboy, though, if I'm not mistaken, if it was Playboy, wait a minute, if it was Playboy, it wasn't hardcore stuff, was it?
No, down the hall we had an edit suite where we were cutting all the cum shots and the hard dicks out of all of the films. And
so then each film probably then ran about a minute and a half, didn't it?
Yeah, no, they would they would loop it. They would create, the editors would do, it was all CMX editing, would create loops, and it was boring to watch. But I used to like Sex Cetera, The News According to Playboy, and there was some shows. Yeah,
but then there were other companies like Larry Flint who actually were putting hardcore porn into hotels. The one place that I saw porn in a hotel, because I never ordered it up. I mean, why? I can get it anytime I want it, right? But I went to a hotel in Greece, in Athens, and they had a porn channel on their in-house TV. So I decided, what the hell? I'll see. I want to see some good Greek porn. What is Greek porn like?
Lots of hair.
Right? Lots of hair, right. So
rear entry.
So I order up one of these films that has some kind of title or something, and I put it on, and it's in Greek, but it's Ron Jeremy fucking somebody. And I'm going, I came all this way to see Ron Jeremy's dick. Give me a break. And I went to the Parthenon and hung out for the day. I mean, it just, very disappointed. Very disappointed. Anyway. But, it's a fascinating documentary about what has happened to the business, where women used to get paid incredible amounts of money, $5,000 a shoot, and now they're lucky if they get like $800 for a shoot. The price has just completely dropped out for the bottom of porn.
Well, Rob, when you were uplinking to a satellite, that must, back in '85, you said that must have been frightfully expensive. I mean, even in today's dollars,
it was frightfully cheap.
Expensive for who?
The company.
No, they lease time on the satellite.
Hold on a second. Back in.
We had a huge uplink facility. We did sports out of there. We did.
When I was doing Midnight Blue, we just talked to a company who had satellites, and nobody was really using the satellites much then.
That was early on.
And this was in the let's say late 70s. Okay.
Yeah.
And they wanted to literally sell us a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week transponder for like $300 a week.
Wow. They really wanted people.
You remember?
Yeah, they really wanted people. And we said, and I went to Al Goldstein, who was backing Midnight Blue and had the money, and said, "Do you want to buy it?" And he said, "No. What's the satellite going to be?" Well, if we rented that transponder, let me tell you an interesting story about transponders. You know the story of Jim Baker and how he got busted and how his big downfall with the PTL club and all of that.
Praise the Lord.
But you don't realize that the whole thing was a fight over transponder. What happened is that he was the smartest guy in the room of these morons, these religious morons. He got into it early enough, and he got himself a transponder. And he was broadcasting PTL and all variety of shows, Tammy Faye's House Party, things like that, 24/7. And he had literally the TV business to himself because he had all these this one transponder. They all wanted that transponder, and he wouldn't sell them time on it. So one thing led to another, and Falwell wound up with the transponder because first they got him into trouble. Then he wanted to get bailed out by Falwell. Falwell said, "Give me everything you own, and I'll give as long as this is going on. And then when it's over with, I'll give it back to you." He never gave it back to him, and guess what he got in the bargain? The transponder. And that, his whole downfall was because he had a transponder that could and by that time, satellite delivery had become a major deal. Okay? And yet he was the only one of them that literally owned a transponder on a satellite.
There were people that rented them, like that Dr. Gene Scott.
Well, yeah, no, we know that. But I'm saying
Scott.
He literally he bought the rights to a transponder in the very beginning, and it was into perpetuity.
That's a fascinating story.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
How about the farting minister? Did he have a transponder?
The farting minister?
Oh, you've never seen those videos?
No.
Oh, well, you have to look. You have to look on YouTube. This guy, he talks in tongues, and every time he makes a face, there's like someone inserts a fart sound.
Oh, I see.
It's not real him.
No, but it's hilarious.
Because I would pay to get on my cable system a channel with the farting. If it were for real,
you never know.
But anyway, so these transponders, I was amazed. I mean, I remember how cheap we were offered a transponder 24/7 for, and what eventually, and I think one day I did say to Goldstein, you never listened to me. You never listened to me. You're like WMCA when I told them I got the rights to do live broadcasting from this music festival that's being held in upstate New York. And all we have to do is put a line in there, and they told me, well, what's the Woodstock Festival going to be?
Hey, it just got historical status. If you go there right now, there's a a federal historical.
But if you had a line into Woodstock, it would have been the only broadcast line into Woodstock. You would have made a fucking fortune over that weekend.
Yeah. Didn't you say that there were other people that had lines there because they were doing news?
No. I said there were news people there with their pens and their typewriters.
I thought you said there was one line going in.
No, there wasn't.
It would have to have been a broadcast phone line.
Yeah, it's a broadcast phone line.
line.
Yeah, ISDN. Right.
No, it wasn't. That's long before ISDN.
Yeah, it would have been for music. It would have been like a 10kc or a 5kc line.
We had to put a line in there, which cost money. You could order them up fast because if it was a rush job and it was something important like that, you could do it. But I let them know 2 weeks before it was going to happen.
That would have been tough to order up.
Huh? Yeah, but
that would have been tough to get in.
We could have ordered it up. I remember whatever amount of time that I had. Maybe it was a month. Because what happened was I had the people who were running the festival on my show, and I said, could I do my show from up there if I can run a line in there? Will you give me the ability to run a line in there? And they said, absolutely.
Jeez. And no other radio station, rock station thought to do that?
Nope.
Wow.
In fact, I think maybe I was the only radio guy there.
Wow.
Well, wasn't Woodstock sort of a big surprise in terms of how popular it was?
Well,
wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it started off as a pay thing, and then people just crashed it, and it got overpopulated.
Well, there's a famous piece of footage, television footage of Bill Graham and the promoters of the festival. Once this influx of people came, so many of them came that it became impossible to charge everybody to get in. Yeah. Okay, and Bill Graham is standing there saying, well, the only way you're going to prevent them from getting in here is you dig a deep pit and set it on fire. But no, actually, a lot of people talk about Woodstock and say how wonderful Woodstock was. Actually, Woodstock was a massive failure.
Was it? Oh, well, they made any money on it, but it
didn't make any money on it. I mean, people were slogging around in mud. The only thing that you remember of Woodstock, that you really remember of Woodstock, are the performances, and that's because they had cameras there rolling all the time as people attempted to perform in this, in what was this gigantic clusterfuck.
They used Eclair NPRs to film the event. I think that's the first time that camera, the 16mm documentary camera, came online. And I took a course years ago from Stephen Hill. I think he was a president of the Actors Union at one time, and he was one of the cameramen that filmed the film Woodstock. They must be making some money from that film. I mean, it gets
the film made the Woodstock Festival go into profit. But it was the film that made it go into profit. Prior to that, they were bankrupt practically.
Talking about courses, Ray, aren't you doing that Annie Leibovitz course?
Oh, the camera, yeah.
Do you like it?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Did I tell you about
online?
That?
It's an online thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I bought for $90. I bought all the master classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, live.
The Kevin Spacey one was really good, and I was almost done with it, and the whole thing with his nastiness came up, but I finished it. And they closed it to new people. They wouldn't let anybody else watch it unless you bought it already.
All of a sudden, Kevin Spacey no longer existed. His talent no longer existed. His life's work was all gone and didn't matter.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's crazy when you think.
And everyone was really pissed off.
Well, I don't mind you chastising somebody and saying, okay, we're never going to hire you again to work in this business, or you can't buy a drink at my bar ever again, or whatever you want to do. But to deny somebody's body of work, I think, is wrong.
Yeah.
To deny, for instance, the Cosby Show as an example with Cosby, or his act. Or the work that he did, or the fact that he was the first black man to be in a weekly television drama okay, as one of the stars. To negate all of that because of what he wound up doing is, I think, wrong. You should not deny the person's body of work just because of what the person became. But yes,
and I can
Jeff,
tell you, Kevin Spacey was an incredible acting teacher too.
Yeah, Jeff
really
wants to
good.
say something.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I think that he's still on early Saturday shows for kids.
Nope, they took it off. They
Really?
took it off. They
Kevin
took it off.
Spacey?
Yeah.
Crap, you're gonna ruin my
No,
weekend.
not the Spacey Kids. No, not that show.
Spacey.
Lost in Spacey.
Lost in Space.
Lost in Spacey.
They took off the Bill Cosby show. It was, I think, on Nickelodeon. They
Bill Cosby show.
They
Okay,
ditched
I'm
it.
sitting going, Kevin Spacey had a show for.
No.
And I mean, the Cosby Show was a groundbreaking show if you think about it. I mean, I was never a big fan of it. I didn't watch it a lot, but it was groundbreaking because it was about a professional black family. Okay? It presented blacks in a light they had never been presented before on television, and Cosby managed to get away with it. Yes, Patrick.
And I always thought in the last several months, the most, I don't know if ironic is the word for it, but I'll use it anyway. The most ironic thing is he was a gynecologist and an OBGYN on the show.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that fits right in with what he's been accused of, and he was very good at it on the show as well. So real life, what is it? Art imitates life, and sometimes life imitates art.
Yeah.
Where you go.
Yeah.
So never forget, he was an OBGYN.
Well, maybe he was researching when he drugged and hit on all those women.
Well,
Yeah.
you got to remember times change, and when Cosby was originally doing all this stuff, okay, nobody thought twice of it. They knew he was doing it.
Yeah.
It was fine.
He joked about it on the late night shows.
He joked about it on the late night shows, supposedly. I mean,
I remember it. Yeah.
So I mean, at one point in history, we take this as being just kind of goofy behavior, and then eventually we look upon it as being diabolical and horrible. Well,
it was almost
because
normal.
times change, do we? It's kind of a.
Well,
it's a
sometimes they don't.
I mean, what he did to me was terrible under any conditions, because I don't think there's any excuse, even because of the times. There's a certain morality you have and say that's not right. Okay, but the fact is that he was being given basically social permission to do what he was doing by the society. Yes, Patrick.
The movie 40-Year-Old Virgin was on the other night on one of the cable channels.
Yeah, it's a good little picture.
I remember that one of the people that was in the movie, one of the sub-stars, is in jail for murdering his girlfriend. And I forget who it was. It wasn't one of the main stars, but, with that show or that movie being shown.
What movie is that again?
40-Year-Old Virgin?
40-Year-Old Virgin, yeah.
There was a one of the people in there, he ended up murdering his girlfriend. And I was just thinking to myself, I'm glad that they didn't take that movie off of, the playlist and that, because you got somebody who fucked up in there and ruined it for everybody else. And it's the same with the Cosby Show. Even though Bill Cosby is the star, there are all those other players, his kids and Felicia Rashad, that, that show should not be eliminated out of existence because of his fuck up.
Yeah.
You know why they don't hassle a guy for killing his girlfriend? Because a lot of people want to do that.
Look who's here, everybody. Look who's here.
Uh-oh.
Hello.
Hey.
Good evening.
Huh?
Hey.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Not too bad. We haven't heard from you in a while.
It's been about 2 weeks or so, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's good to have you here.
Have you joined the ranks of the employed yet?
I almost did, but I found out the company I was trying out to basically a racket. Yellow cab that transformed into Z-Trip. I would avoid both of those entities like the plague.
Wow.
Yeah.
I refuse to pay to work.
Oh, and do you have to pick up passengers in a thing like that, or is it moving items?
You pick up passengers, and the audacity of it is that not only are you owed a lease, but you have to, unfortunately, trust them to pay you after the route is completed.
Why wouldn't you do something like Uber?
I have. I can't stand Uber. I have no love for Uber. They treat their drivers like shit.
They do.
But in comparison to Z-Trip, they're a little less. They're a little less, or a few shades lighter of the two evils.
Okay, because I'd seen that they had a commercial or something. And they say they download the money immediately to you from the fare.
That is a good feature, admittedly. And having they only accept. They accept every form of payment, basically, except cash, which I like. Which is what I like about Uber. Lyft is the same way, and they're a little better than Uber. And I've noticed that since they charge a little lower, the rider is a little lower than Uber does. That they're more inclined to give you favorable reviews.
Uber claims they're going to...
Even if you have a 4.4, if you have anything below a 4.6, even if it's a 4.59, you risk deactivation from Uber, which is bullshit. Should be a thumbs up or thumbs down, and that's it.
Amy got deactivated from Uber, she had said. Amy Manuel.
Really? Really?
So? She got a couple of, 4-star reviews. And
yeah.
Boston.
I drive for both. Yeah. I'd rather drive for Lyft. Lyft has become super popular in San Francisco. A lot of people aren't taking Uber unless their companies will only pay for Uber.
Well, Uber's in a lot of trouble because you can tell they don't. You don't.
Deservedly so.
Well, you don't advertise like they are right now unless you're in trouble. I never saw Uber advertising, and now I see the head of the company going, "Hi, I'm the head of the company, and I just took
they've
it over,
advertised,
and I'm going to make life better for the drivers." Huh?
They've advertised extensively as well under the leadership of Travis Kalanick, Dara Khosrowshahi's predecessor. Travis
he founded the company.
One of their CEOs said some very negative things, I guess, in a cab.
Well, that was Kalanick.
Oh, okay.
I believe that was Kalanick.
Yeah.
Was racial stuff?
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Dara is an insidious, penis-looking motherfucker. That wouldn't have been from him. It would have been from Travis. But Dara, he is an insidious cocksucker.
It forced
straight. Hey.
If you look at his profile, one of his portraits of him standing in a business suit with a bunch of his important associates, he looks just like a fucking penis. Tell me he doesn't look like a penis.
Who is this?
The new CEO that took over in August of 2017. Dara Khosrowshahi, I believe is how you pronounce his name. But I call him Dara the cocksucker or Dara the dickhead.
Earlier in the show, Alex was obsessed with penises. And maybe you should pose the question to Brian. He's seen more penises than most.
Yeah, well, you're trying to figure out where penises come from. Well, that wasn't really the way to put it. Who do you inherit your penis from?
Oh.
Yeah, that's the question we never asked.
Inherited from mom.
Huh? No, you didn't get it from mom. No, there's no question about that.
Well, maybe, but
actually,
where you're getting
you
at,
can.
Alex, maybe suggesting that the characteristics, the composition of your cock may be inherited from your mother's side of the family, much like your hairline as a guy is as well.
But what do I do? Hey, Mom, how big was Grandpa's dick?
Well, get the roller out, honey.
Most people
get like a little pee thing.
Most people never paid much attention. How many here have paid attention to your parents' genitalia?
Oh, fuck no.
No. You did, Ray?
Yeah, because my dad, I can't believe I'm about to say this. My dad used to walk around in like a Speedo and stuff at home. He had a huge dick. I hated it.
Were you
so
traumatized?
embarrassing. What? Yes. I was
I can
traumatized.
imagine why you would be.
So was my poor mother, I think. God, I hope they don't see this.
And she had it in her.
Oh, gee, I was thinking of running this as the clip tomorrow on breaking news.
Oh, shit.
Alex, don't excerpt this clip in your next news flash.
Excuse me,
You're gonna get all these guys in trouble.
Yeah. Is your mother still alive, Ray?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
well, then I guess.
Yeah, not until tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, tomorrow.
Like
Tomorrow, after she watches breaking news, she's going to have a heart attack.
Oh,
How does she walk?
Huh?
I haven't asked her that. She's my mother.
Yeah. No, but how did you? I saw my father's penis once, and I remember. I think because he had an erection.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you saw your father's penis.
Well, I had when we like camping and taking showers, but then we had a swimming pool in the backyard, and he used to wear a Speedo, and man, he was packing, like just walking around packing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is your father still alive, or did he blood?
Like Ron Jeremy style, huh?
Is your father still around?
Yes, he is, and he better not hear this.
Oh. Well, this is certainly going to be. How much is it worth to you that I not put this in the breaking news segment
it's worth
tomorrow?
Nothing. I'll live through the embarrassments.
Do you mind if I play it?
I don't. It's fine. They don't watch this.
Oh, okay.
Their friends might show them, but then one of them might get it.
I just think it's. I think it's. Yeah, but it's a topic that I've always wondered about because we know where certain things are inherited, and I'm sure a woman, if she has large breasts, knows where she got them from. She might not have gotten them from her mother, but her grandmother had huge breasts, Huh?
She might have bought them.
Yeah.
Well, in this day and age, you're probably right, Phil. But speaking of tiny penises and pinpricks, how's Trump doing?
You mean the guy with the stubby fingers?
And the tiny hands?
Yeah, the tiny hands. Well, he's not
tiny hands.
He's not doing too. He's not doing too well lately. He's got
on which network you watch.
Well, no, it doesn't matter which network I watch. It's in general. I mean, the whole North Korea thing is falling apart right in front of our eyes.
We're going to see what he's made out of, though.
Nobel Prize.
No, but if he doesn't, get Kim to do what he's going to do, he's not going to meet with him. He's not going to give Kim other people.
Yeah. But he already has the medals made already for the trip.
Yeah,
the coins. Haven't you seen those?
I saw Marjorie put those on her Facebook page.
Yeah, the coins. He has coins, and it's for celebrating the meeting between Kim Jong-un and the President of the United States. And I think maybe he was a little premature in doing that.
He'll be able to sell them.
By the way, did you see that great clip of Trump in the Oval Office when he was asked about? See, Bolton made a comment on the Sunday shows that we're going to use the Libya as a model for what we want out of Korea, which was a bad thing to say because what happened to Muammar Gaddafi?
Oof.
He got a bayonet shoved up his ass and then he was killed. Okay,
much like Mussolini did in the end of the World War.
Right. So you don't say that, right? So Bolton makes this big gaffe, and then somebody asks, "What about the Libyan model?" in this little press conference in the Oval Office, and he says, "Well, we never felt that way, and that was a mistaken idea, and blah blah blah." And he's putting it down as a notion, right, that we're going to use the Libyan model, and Bolton is standing right in back of him.
Well, Bolton knew. They said on the shows that he took one for the team.
Oh, he took one for the team. Every one of those guys takes one for the team when they act stupid. They took one for the team because they were acting.
In my opinion, the only time anybody should ever take anything for the team is if they're a porn star in a gangbang.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
On another note, though, Alex, I was in a series on the other side, on the flip side, to show you that I'm not a chivalry bot. I mean, I was in a rather intense and derogatory, flame-throwing war of words with some assholes on Facebook concerning whether or not concerning the virtues of Pelosi, Schumer, and those corporate cocksuckers on the left.
That support MS-13, that they're good guys.
No, that they take money from that they're Republican light. They're Diet Trump, just 1 calorie Trump, and I have no use for them any more than I would have use for a lump on my testicle.
Yes, Patrick.
You only have one?
Yes, Patrick.
I'm glad Pelosi was brought up, because one of the more entertaining things for me the last several days has been with this MS-13 thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is all of a sudden the Democrat and the left are talking about God, the spark of life from God, everybody children of God. But when a Republican the last several years had even brought up God, we should ban God from everything. And
valid point.
So I just found it ironic that Nancy is up there, everybody the children of God, and yet there's no Democrat condemning her for saying it.
And I remember back in I'm sorry to interrupt if I did, but I just want to get this point across before I forget, because I know I will, my dumb ass will. But I remember back in 2011 or so, Alex, when you still had that show on Sirius, you and Christina were talking about the concern over the new Democratic platform, and how you had said, Alex, that you would have been right there with those left-leaning Democrats, booing and hissing every time they brought up or tried to ramrod the notion that Jerusalem should be recognized as a capital. Fuck that. Of course, I'm gonna piss off Patrick here, but I'm an avowed atheist. I think all religions are full of shit, and that we only have ourselves.
Well, no, I agree with you. Not only are they full of shit, but they are probably one of the major reasons for the problems in this world. Yes, Patrick.
Yes, they are.
Absolutely.
Patrick had his hand up, and then Ray.
Hitchens a plug.
Patrick has his hand up. Yes, Patrick.
You didn't piss me off, Brian. I don't care what people think or don't think. I'm a Christian. I don't shove people's faces. I just like to bring up, much like you do, the inconsistencies.
Oh yeah. No, I appreciate it. That's why we like. That's why he likes you. That's why I like you, and that's hopefully why people like me too, because I'm not kissing Democratic ass anymore.
Okay, Ray has hand up.
No, wait a second. Nancy Pelosi was exercising hyperbole. She was not proselytizing. She said we are, everyone is a child of God in the sense that we are all equal. She was not positing that we should all be Christians and getting into the whole thing about how this country is a Christian nation and all bullshit. All she said is we're all children of God. She was using hyperbole.
She was taking,
I'm sorry, it's not the same thing.
She took Trump's statement.
Wait a minute, you didn't put your hand up, Phil. And there are a lot of people with their hands up. No, you didn't have your fucking hand up.
View the goddamn tape. My fucking hand was up.
Yes, Mr. Perulis, sir.
Recognize it.
Me?
Yes.
Okay. Hey, I'm up. Phil, wait. This whole thing with Pelosi's a diversion. There's lawsuits going on in San Francisco now about Hunters Point and the radioactive waste that was mishandled by the company the Navy hired to do the cleanup. Nancy Pelosi's fucking nephew made deals with Lennar, the home builder there, to build up a massive development. And by the way, Feinstein's husband, Richard Blum, bailed out Lennar. Lennar is the biggest home builder in the nation now. He bailed the company out before they went into this Hunters Point deal.
Corporate crash.
You think I could get a good deal on a condo there?
Yeah, right.
Excuse me. I have no influence.
Pelosi is crooked.
Shit, I have no influence over what my nephews do. I don't know what they do. I know what they do. They will not listen to me about anything. Why do you think Pelosi had anything to do with what her nephew did?
To read. I'll send you links.
Okay. So she was involved.
She used her office to help him advance. That's what the deal was.
Okay, well that sucks if that's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Well, I happen to be friends with Alexandra Pelosi, and I think they're a nice family. Yes, Patrick.
Fuck you.
Well, fuck you. They're a nice family. And by the way, at a time when women weren't in politics, Nancy Pelosi went into politics, and she went into it at a later age. And it's really quite an amazing story if you ever check it out. Yes.
And screwed Bruce Hershenson out of the position.
Well, he deserved being fucked up.
She lied about it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, according to you. Yes, Patrick.
Ray, I wasn't bringing up Pelosi as if she was trying to convince everybody into Christianity. Just the fact that she said the children of God is an inference by a lot of people that she's bringing up a religious topic or a religious statement. Not that she's pushing it on everybody, but every time a Republican had brought up, I shouldn't say every time, but many times a Republican had brought up God or children of God, a statement similar to that, where it isn't in your face that Israel should be this or Christianity should be this, they still get slapped in the face that God doesn't belong in the Congress.
Yeah, Patrick, every president that we've ever known ends every speech with and God bless the United States of America. You know, so and God is all over our money. You know, it's all over our lives.
He never used to be all over our money,
So
though.
in a way,
in
a way, you have to think of the term God as generic, okay, not as secular.
When did the money say "In God We Trust"? When did they put that on?
I think it's been there
around the Eisenhower administration.
It was right. It was a Cold War thing. Yeah. They did it. It was right after the.
No. That was the Cold War thing. Was the Pledge of Allegiance. When I learned the Pledge of Allegiance, the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There was no under God, and that was thrown in the 50s. In the 50s, as a result of the Red Scare.
Yeah, and it wasn't the same for the money. It wasn't the same.
No, as long as I've been alive, I remember it saying "In God We Trust."
Oh, okay.
Hey, you know,
or as Gene Shepard once wrote a book called, "In God We Trust, all others pay cash."
Right.
You know,
Pledge of Allegiance was my first radio PA gig in elementary school. I used to do it in the mornings on the PA, for the high school.
No, well,
I'm sure everybody was praying to Satan instead.
And that to this day remains the most professional thing you've ever done. Anyway,
we've got a diverse group here tonight. This is cool.
Pull out the photographs.
Hail Satan.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to see a photograph? I'll turn my camera.
No, we don't want to see a photograph. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Alex.
It's a vertical photograph. Can you see?
Yeah, we can see it. We can see it. Wait a minute. Jack Bishop is calling.
Homeless guy between an advertisement of some
legs.
Jack Bishop is calling, no doubt, to plug his program, which comes on right after us. Hello. Jack?
Hello there.
Are you growing a beard? Wait a minute, are you growing a beard?
I'm playing with it. I haven't decided.
I tried and I gave up.
Yeah,
by the way,
I'll put it this way: Jeff looks so good with him, and Jeff is my brother of another mother. That I thought I'd try.
No, but I'll tell you something.
We should ask you about dick sizes. Do you know where dick sizes come from?
Because he's black?
Yes.
Well, as a matter of fact, yes. All you have to do is look at the Republican Party.
Well, you really have to look with a magnifying glass there.
By the way, I want to mention this. This is my anniversary. 1 week ago, I started working out, and out of 8 days, I worked out 7. Thank you very much.
Wow!
Yeah,
congratulations!
Yeah.
And I remember, by the way, Alex, I just want to say I was listening to the podcast from Friday, and people were ragging you about the carrying the towel. We should have just said, well, if it were me, I'd say I don't give a fuck if I wear it as a tampon. At least I'm not sweating. I don't give a fuck.
I didn't even bring it. I didn't even bring a towel today. I forgot it. you know. And they have these little napkins you can wipe down your seat with and stuff. So,
hey, I just want to say something in defense of my son there, Brian. One, if you got one big hairy ball, that's all you need.
Exactly. That's what I was wondering. That's what I was gonna say that earlier.
Yeah, you do only need one.
Like Lance Armstrong only has one, and he's a badass motherfucker.
I've got a cousin with 3 kids who only has one. He lost one back in his 20s due to cancer. But I told him it's hard to keep us black guys down.
Well, you know, the human body, God in his wisdom, made the human body with almost 2 of everything. You know, I mean, we have 2 kidneys, and you can have 1 kidney go out, and you're fine. I think liver, we only have 1 liver, but the liver, you can cut out most of the liver, and still the liver will operate. But, you know, that's why you have 2 testicles, and women have 2 ovaries, and everything. Our body is redundant.
Except our hearts.
That'd be good if we had 2 hearts.
Our hearts.
And don't forget our brains there, Robert.
Oh, that's
and our
true.
brains.
But we do have 2 sides to the brain. We do have 2 sides to the brain, and we have 2 sides to the brain, and only 1 side do we really ever use. The other one we can start using if one side goes out. Yes.
Whatever that guy's name.
Jack.
Yeah.
Well, I know you by another name.
You can call me whatever name you want to. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Yeah.
And in deference to 2 brains, if we had 2 brains, we'd be Doctor Who.
Yeah. No, 2 hearts. 2 hearts.
2 hearts. 2 hearts.
No, that's Spock. Spock has 2 hearts.
No. Doctor Who has 2 hearts.
No.
I never heard that Spock had 2 hearts.
Spock has 2.
No, he has 1 heart.
Yeah, Vulcans.
No,
Vulcans do not have 2 hearts.
I thought Spock was Jewish.
Canada,
they were Jewish. Leonard Nimoy was Jewish. Yes, yes, Jeff.
Many years ago, a doctor in Africa started developing heart changes and things like that.
Christian Barnard.
And he used pig or animal hearts that were supplements.
Christian Barnard did the first heart transplant.
Yeah.
And isn't Dick Cheney still walking around with an artificial heart to go along with the rest?
He got a heart transplant.
Yeah. Freaking Frankenstein.
Yeah, he no longer walks around with a battery.
I just checked. 1 out of every 5.5 million boys are born with 2 penises.
How many out of 1 out of every? How much?
5.5 million.
Where do you
I've
find
seen pictures too, so you can go like this and really work the shaft.
Yeah.
Aren't there people running around with 2 heads? You know.
Yeah, those are called Siamese twins.
Yeah, the girls are on there now. I see it all my news feeds. Those 2 girls. Or the one girl with the 2 heads,
Oh, really? There's a.
Well, they have personality.
When I say something offensive to somebody, people
you know,
often look at me
we
as
just
if I
used
have
to
2
call
heads,
those
so
people. We used
I
to
can
call. Remember when we used to call those kids
Doesn't mean
people?
I care, but I can relate.
You remember when we used to call those people freaks?
Yeah.
Well, let's go. Go be right. Exactly.
Thank you,
Phil Meyer. Thank you for being with us tonight, as well as Patrick Blasek and John Peroulis and Brian. Great to see you again. Always great because you make us feel that we're sane and you're not. Jeff Stein. Thank you, Rob. Always a pleasure. Ray Renati. You don't mind if I use the clip, do you? Because it's such a good clip. I got to do it. And
I knew he was going to do it. I knew he was going to do it.
Jack, well, it was too good a clip, you know. I mean, I want to.
My hand looks like when I raise it. All right.
Yeah, stubby little fingers, huh?
Yeah.
Stubby fingers. I see. Anyway, everybody, you know what I'd like you to all do? Just wave a big goodbye to everybody so they can see that you're happy and we didn't offend you too terribly or we didn't beat you up on the program. Thank you, everybody. That's our citizens panel for tonight. Let me hang up on them so they can go away and so the next show can use the lines. And the next show is, of course, as you know, the intersection with Jack and Amy. It's followed at 1 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time by Connections tomorrow night. We start off with the Franchise MC and the Arena at 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time, followed at 9:30 by the Exchange with Damian Chaplin, and then I'll see you again tomorrow night, right back here. Same time, same station in life at 10 o'clock, and if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye.